All right. Hello, everyone. Jeff Kerdakis here. It has been a while since the last live stream. The last event we had was the TrustSwap 1 year anniversary. That happened last month. The amount of things that TrustSwap has done in 1 year of operation has been staggering, to say the least. I'm actually not even aware of any company in crypto that's made two acquisitions, let alone one acquisition in their first year of operation. And with both those acquisitions, one being Team Finance, which offers the team token locks, the liquidity locks, that has been an immense success. That has now risen to the number one token lock and liquidity lock platform out there, period. And also, we have the crypto app, which is one of the most downloaded crypto applications in the world. So that was valued at around a $50 million acquisition. And that's based on metrics from previous acquisitions. For example, FTX had bought Blockfolio. I forget the exact numbers. I think it was $180 million for 6 million users, and it worked out to $25 per user. There's also another similar acquisition with the exact same metrics, $25 per user. So when you factor that onto the crypto app, it was a $50 million acquisition. And in fact, the crypto app is so downloaded, it actually has more downloads than the CoinMarketCap app, which is quite staggering. I want to talk a little bit more about Team Finance, our vision for that, as well as the crypto app, our vision for that, and where we're taking it and where it's currently at a little bit down the line. But first, we'll set the stage here. What I want to do is go through some of the updates and accomplishments that we've had in the last little while, things that you guys can be looking forward to in the short, medium, and long-term future. And throughout that, I'll be checking over to the side of the screen, seeing if there's any comments rolling in or questions. And if there's any questions that I want to address right away, I'll hop to those. But if you're leaving your questions and they don't get answered right away, I will get to them. I will get through all the questions that have some substance to them at least. And I just may have to scroll back a bit. So just have a little bit of patience. I will get to your questions. And it's great to see everybody in here. I'm looking forward to getting this going. I hope my voice can hold out. Usually my voice evaporates after about an hour of talking. Brought a little bit of carbonated water and kombucha. SodaStream. If you haven't seen a SodaStream yet, these machines are magic. They saved me tons of trips to the bottle depot, having to recycle bubblies. This is now the thing. Someone asks, where's my hair? I just moved into a new place. We were renting before, and just wanted to start with a new beginning. So shaved all my hair off, went totally bald, and it's kind of like the new beginning here. Also, my head was kind of dry, and so I was like, you know what? This is a great opportunity for me to just shave my hair off, really kind of do a little bit of scalp care, but I won't go into that. That's not why you're here. So first of all, one thing that a lot of people are very excited about, we have Swappable NFT Marketplace. You'll be able to trade NFTs, mint NFTs, bid on exclusive high profile NFTs. This is an NFT marketplace and it is launching next week. This has been something in the works for a very long time. We've held it back for a considerable amount of time as well. The conditions are right. The platform is ready. Swappable is launching next week. We have a piece that was created at the FIFA World Cup. This is signatures from, I believe it was both the winning team's players. They all signed it. Single pieces have been turned into an NFT. We anticipate that this piece is going to sell for around $1 million. This is an incredible piece. There are a couple physical art pieces, I believe one other or two other art pieces like this, and they have a similar resale value. So when you buy the NFT, you're also buying the physical art piece. So this is something very, very cool from the World Cup. We also have Johnny Leonin, who I'm sure you guys have seen, NFT drop coming. And we have some incredible high-profile celebrities that are lined up to do some exclusive NFT drops on Swappable, as well as, I would say, the most impressive, or at least the most high-profile NFT drop ever. You know, for example, everybody knows, let's say Mike Tyson, everybody knows Oprah, but this one is an even more globally recognized name or brand than both of those two. So I'm very excited to be releasing that one. There's no timeline on that, but let's just say it's going to be very, very good. Swappable fees. So the fees on Swappable, something that sets Swappable apart is 80% of the fees are going directly to the TrustSwap stakers. So if you're in that staking pool and you have swap staked, you're going to be getting 80% of the fees that are generated on Swappable. So OpenSea right now is doing gargantuan amounts of money, hundreds of millions of dollars on a monthly basis. So our idea is to transfer that value to the stakers. That's 80%. 10% is going to get burned, and 10% is going to go to the foundation just for operating costs so that we can continue to build a substantial platform so that we continue to scale it to give more fees back to the stakers. That is the goal. So Swappable coming out next week. More details on that. Launchpads, another topic here. Launchpads have been performing up and down. Recently, they've been performing incredibly well. And if you've been holding Launchpad projects for any given amount of time, you're probably doing pretty well overall. Granted, in Launchpads, these are all crypto startups. In the real world, 95% of startups fail. So if you look at the projects that TrustSwap has brought on, keeping in mind that 95% of startups fail, the track record is incredible. The performance is amazing. You do not see this kind of return anywhere in the traditional world. If you had participated in all the launch pads, you would be having a very good day right now. And again, all you need to participate is to stake 4,000 swap, and you're going to get a guaranteed allocation. You have a 24-hour allocation window. That doesn't exist anywhere else. There's no other launch pad that has a 24 allocation window and guaranteed launch pads. And that is why TrustSwap right now, I believe, is the #1 ranked launch pad on CoinMarketCap. In addition, you always see in the Telegram room a lot of people, not a lot of people, sorry. Sometimes it seems as if there's complaints because, people didn't pass KYC or this didn't happen. The success rate for KYC and for the launch pads is at over 97% right now. It's probably closer to 98.5, 99%. So it's 97%, 98, 98.5%. That's incredible. And the reason why we decline people is because they put, I'm a US resident, or they're a politically exposed person, or they've made an error in the form. So we're making sure to get everybody through on the launch pads, and we're giving everybody ample time to correct any user errors that they have made. So this is amazing. And another thing, I think people really overlook this. The TrustSwap Launchpad is fully cross-chain. There are a lot of projects popping up like SolPad or SolStarter. It's the Launchpad for Solana, or we have like Cardano Pad, or we have BSC Pad. You don't need them. The only reason why you would need any of those other launch pads is because the launch pads on SolStarter or BSC Pad don't meet the criteria for TrustSwap. We have a very, very strict vetting process, and I think we push out some of the highest quality projects out there. Again, granted, 95% of startups fail, so please keep that in mind. Not everything is a guarantee. Just because we vet something, you can only vet something so deeply. Please do your own research, your own due diligence. Every time you participate in a startup, that decision is 100% on you. Right on. So I'm seeing from Big Bear, he's saying, any updates to the fee structure? So I'm going to get into that in just a moment here. But just to top off with launch pads, airdrops. Everyone says, when are the airdrops coming for these launch pads? They go out to the top 1,000 stakers. So if you're in the top 1,000, you can see this on dashboard.trustswap.org. You can see where you rank. And if you're in the top 1,000, you're going to be getting airdrops from every single launch pad that comes through the gate. When do those airdrops happen? It depends on the vesting schedule. So it might be 3 months after, it might be 6 months after the fact, but you are getting an airdrop. All right, tapping into Big Bear Crypto's question, but first starting with an overview on what is creating these fees recently, and this is Team Finance. So for a long time, we had Team Finance. If you're not familiar, it is currently the #1 token locking and liquidity locking platform. We have over $1.5 billion locked on Team Finance. That equates to over 2% of the entire total locked value in all of crypto. That is staggering. And $1.5 billion is actually more value than was locked in all of crypto, in all of DeFi locked, is what I'm saying, a year and a half ago. So the amount locked, the amount that is being staged in Team Finance right now is astronomical. And I think people should really start taking a closer look at that. Regardless, it's the number one by a mile, and we're very happy about that. We wanted to establish market dominance by providing free services so that we could just really obliterate the competitors and be the go-to service solution. And we did that. There are still competitors out there, but the closest competitor is Unicrypt. They charge $500 per lock, and they are not getting very much volume at all anymore. There's really no reason to use Unicrypt over Team Finance at all, and that's why we're outperforming them by a considerable margin. That said, we have now introduced fees onto token locks and liquidity locks. That fee is $50 per lock. Now, right now we have individual locks. Within the next week or two, we're going to be coming out with batch locks. So if your company has 100 locks, you can just batch it into one $50 transaction. So what are we doing with these fees, and is it going to stay $50 forever? First of all, it is not going to stay $50 forever. It will continue to ramp up. On an average day, we're doing it, let's say 200 locks per day. So if you're looking at our closest competitor, Unicrypt, so let's say they're doing $500 per lock, scale ours up to 250, and you're doing, like I said, 200 locks per day. I'll let you guys do the math. That's a considerable amount of capital, and that's assuming absolutely no growth, considering right now we're only on 3 blockchains. So the vision for Team Finance is to scale to every single major blockchain. We're talking Cardano, we're talking Algorand, we're talking Solana. Doesn't matter. We're going to implement on those blockchains. We're going to be the go-to service provider for all major chains. Our goal is to increase the adoption of crypto worldwide. And through that, we need to expand to all blockchains. We need to offer a very accessible, inexpensive, efficient, safe, secure method to be able to transfer and secure tokens and value. And so that's what we're doing, and that's where we're headed, and we're doing an incredible job at that. And hats off to the dev team led by Ivan Reif. Really great going on his part. So getting back to the fees now, where are those fees going? Right now, they've just been going to the treasury. We've just been holding them. But this is the official announcement that what we're going to be doing with those fees. So again, Swappable, 80% of the fees are used to go back to stakers. What the stakers then do with those fees, it's up to them. They can hold them, they can sell them. When they sell them, of course, that creates sell pressure, which we all know what happens after that. What we're doing with Team Finance as we scale up into tens of millions of dollars of fees on a monthly basis, we're doing a token buyback of swap tokens. So with all fees on Team Finance, we are buying back swap tokens. We're not going to be distributing these tokens to stakers, and we're not going to be burning them. We're going to be holding them in the treasury, and they are going to be staying in the treasury. Now, the reason why we're doing this is we want to make sure that sell pressure is mitigated. We don't want to just be giving away swap tokens on a continual basis, because this creates potential sell pressure. We want to foster a strong token ecosystem and strong tokenomics. And so I think you will see the effects of that. Just as Binance does their buyback and burn, it's the same mechanics, except we're not burning money. We're saving it, because sometimes you need to make an acquisition. Sometimes you can pay and swap. That's what we did with Team Finance, and that worked out incredibly well. So you build the treasury, you increase the tokenomics. This is our goal. And so I hope that explains why we're not burning them. Why would you burn money? It just doesn't make any sense. It's much more intelligent, in my opinion, to leverage that capital to be able to make smart business moves like acquisitions, like new hires, things of that nature. I was just reading. Someone says, those that held through the bear and didn't unstake, can we get an attaboy? To you guys, you are the ones that I enjoy having the most in this community. It's the people who have been here for a long time, who see where we're going with TrustSwap, who see the long-term vision, who see the growth, who've been watching the updates. I don't want to overplay this, but what we've been putting out over the last year and the pace of development has been incredible. Just look at the crypto app, look at Team Finance, what we've been able to achieve with launch pads, and we have our smart swap and escrow services getting rebranded and relaunched within the next, I believe that should be 2 to 3 weeks. That'll be live and rolling again as well. So kudos to you guys, and hats off for seeing how we are really becoming a foundational pillar in the road to, as I mentioned before, increase the adoption of cryptocurrency on a global scale. This goes from businesses to individuals. On the individual level, we have the crypto app, and let's talk about that a little bit now. The crypto app, it's right now only a portfolio tracking tool when we purchased it. What we're now implementing onto it is the ability to buy, to trade, to stake, everything that you need to do in crypto for an intro user. That's our goal. We really want to be tackling the intro users first, get a really nice, clean UI, and everything that you would need or want to do in crypto as an entry level user, it's going to be in there. And that's the goal. How can we get crypto into the hands of more people? How can we integrate this into people's everyday lives? And we have some incredible sponsorship deals coming up in the wings to help promote this idea, for the crypto app, for TrustSwap, and for Swappable. All three have different target markets. We'll be leveraging those three entities differently across our different promotions. One of them you guys have seen in Twitter. This is a UFC belt holder. So they're a current reigning champion of the UFC. They're signing on with a 1-year deal with TrustSwap. And so we'll be promoting TrustSwap, we'll be promoting Swappable, and we'll be promoting the crypto app with them. The Swappable, because we'll be creating NFTs with them as well. The crypto app, such an easy gateway for people to get into crypto. And of course, TrustSwap, it's just an ecosystem of facilitation. And I think people really enjoy the opportunity to get access to early stage startups. We also have some other sponsorship deals in the pipeline, a couple related to esports gaming. There's a couple of very large tournaments coming up. And so we're going to be sponsoring some of the, I would say, top 10 teams in esports. So that's really exciting for being able to get a lot more adoption. Somebody says, any chance for Harmony support? Harmony, of course, is a blockchain for those who aren't familiar. A fairly large one. I believe it's probably sitting around 80th on CoinMarketCap right now. But yes, this is the goal. Our goal is to knock off all the EVM compatible blockchains first, with some exceptions. So of course, crypto.com, Avalanche, Binance Smart Chain, these are really easy integrations for us. Well, quote unquote easy. Others are more difficult because they work in different programming languages. Things need to be rewritten. But if there's a blockchain, it's going to come onto Team Finance. It's going to come onto Mint. It's going to be used in the vesting services. And we already support all blockchains on our launchpad. So just remember that there's no need for any other launchpad, any specific niche. Launchpads don't need to be on chain. That's a meme. It's on chain launchpads unless it's first come first serve. Why would you ever need a launchpad on the blockchain? And if it is first come first serve, then your gas fees are going to be insane. It's a race. Whoever has the best internet connection wins. It's a really disenfranchised model, completely broken at that. I think TrustSwap has really fixed that and led the charge on launchpad setups. Okay. A little bit more on Team Finance, actually. I do want to chat about this. I feel like people see TrustSwap and Team Finance as, it's tough to grasp, what it is and who we are, because we're doing so much. And I think under the umbrella, I think I've mentioned it a couple times, bringing the adoption of cryptocurrency to the world and speeding up that adoption process, helping facilitate the adoption and the speed of that. But for Team Finance, the idea is to be a security trifecta. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you lock tokens and you lock liquidity, that's great. That provides some security to your token holders, but it's not perfect because the team who created the token can still have exploits. There can be a mint function. Someone from inside the team could have placed an exploit in and kind of malicious, like it could be an inside job rather than an external hack. So how do you close the loop on that security hole? How do you fix all of those problems? And of course, the answer is our service, Mint. And Mint is a customizable token generator already available on multiple blockchains with more to come. And this closes the security loop. So if you have created a token on Mint, if you've used token locks, if you've used liquidity locks, the vulnerability risk has been drastically reduced. I'm never going to say there is no vulnerability risk because things happen, but to the best of our knowledge, we have secured all of the attacking angles. And this has become the security trifecta. You have your locked tokens, your locked liquidity, and a token contract that's been well audited. And we have our stamp of approval behind it, not from TrustSwap, but major auditing firms. That's what you want to see. There's no funny business there, because some projects can say, listen, we got an audit, we're safe. But the auditor can say, yes, this is a safe token contract, but they fail to mention publicly that there's a minting function in there. So then the project launches the token, it says it's safe, and then lo and behold, 2 weeks later, they mint a bunch more tokens. You can just generate more tokens even after you've launched it, for those who aren't familiar. And boom, there's the scam that's been audited. It's secure. They could have locked the tokens, locked the liquidity, created a token, and have audited it themselves, but there's still a vulnerability. So mint, token locks, liquidity locks, boom, that closes that gap. Security trifecta, throw in the vesting contract as well that we offer. It's ideal, and we're going to be offering this to more and more blockchains. And I see this. Right now, what we're doing is really doing a rebrand and revamp of this service, because on the user interface, it does seem very disconnected. And this message that I'm putting across now doesn't come across visually. So we're reworking this so that people can understand how this ecosystem plays together. And when people understand this ecosystem, we're building out a page that shows the security score of any given project. So now it will become a gold standard. You want to raise your security score as high as you possibly can. You're going to use all three of the services. We're offering it on every single blockchain. So this is the go-to. And of course, when somebody creates a token using Mint, we're taking a percentage of the entire total supply and creating a staking pool with that. Currently, we have not yet created any staking pools. And that's because we just haven't gone. There's been hundreds, if not thousands, of tokens created yet. And in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be scanning through that entire list. Whichever tokens have value, we're going to be creating staking pools for all of those. We can't just automatically create staking pools for every token that's generated, because creating a staking pool contract on Ethereum could be about $100. So we're not going to foot the bill on that if it's a worthless token, which does happen on Mint. Sometimes, people just test it out. They want to create their own token. You create a Jeff token or a Steve token, whatever, doesn't matter. We don't want to create pools for those. So we're going to make sure that the pools we're creating already have value, already have a significant amount of holders. And so that when you are farming these tokens, there is a reason to jump into there. Great. I'm glad somebody asked this. This is backtracking a little bit, this question. Any more use cases for the flash launch tickets? The answer to that, here is going to be, so I've already leaked on this live stream that, what was the leak now? Let me backtrack here. The team finance fees. That's what it was. We've already leaked the team finance fees. The second leak is going to be the next launchpad. All golden tickets will give you an extra 1x multiplier. So this is big. And the 93 of you here currently right now watching this have a massive upper hand. If you go and you buy a golden ticket and you currently, let's say you buy 6 golden tickets and you have a 1x multiplier right now, you now have a 7x multiplier. So the golden tickets can be found right now on OpenSea. Soon you'll be able to find them on Swappable. You should be able to find them on Rarible as well. Find TrustSwap's page. We'll probably be posting this on Monday or Tuesday officially, but here's the leak right now. If you go and you find those tickets, you can scoop them up. They are going to give you a multiplier for the launchpad. Okay. One thing that people have been, quite frankly, I'm not 100% sure. Well, you know what? I won't go into that. I have a love-hate relationship with centralized exchanges, as many of you know. I think their utility is limited. Regardless, I do see the validity and the realistic nature that many people do only have one exchange and they just only use that. For some people, it's Binance. For some people, it's Huobi. For some people, it's OKX. For some people, it's others. And that's totally fine. And so I see the need to expand to other centralized exchanges, and that is what we're doing. So a lot of people have been asking, when is the centralized exchange announcement? I have no details on that. All we mentioned about a month and a bit ago is that we were taking out some liquidity preemptively to get ready for a centralized exchange listing. That listing has no date currently. We cannot comment on that. That is outside of our control. We cannot comment on which exchange it is or exchanges they are. But more details on that as it is available. I think everyone who's been here for any given length of time understands that we do good on our word, and more centralized exchanges are on their way. The only matter is time and understanding what we've been able to achieve in a very short amount of time so far. Centralized exchanges might not be that far away. All right, I'm going to scroll back a little bit here and just go through some of the questions. One thing I will comment on, I've been commenting on TrustSwap, being a foundational layer across multiple blockchains and offering their services. What we're also going to be doing is bridging the swap token to other blockchains as well. So what that means is, let's say there's a total supply of 100 million swap tokens. You can take 20 million tokens off of Ethereum, put them onto Polygon. You can take another 20 million off, put them onto Binance Smart Chain. Take another 20 million off, move them onto Avalanche. And so look to see in the next couple weeks. We're already on Polygon. We're already trading on QuickSwap. And in fact, you should anticipate to see TrustSwap in one of the QuickSwap syrup farming pools in the very near future. Regardless, expect to see the swap token on other blockchains in the next few weeks. One of the things that I believe that our current COO, Ivan A., has been a huge proponent of is tapping in to new communities, to new ecosystems. You could say that the Cardano token or blockchain is its own ecosystem, its own group of people. Not many people in Cardano or in Solana. The overlap is potentially minimal. So what we really aim to do is to enter into particular chains, whether it's Avalanche, Binance Smart Chain, and get TrustSwap onto that blockchain, because I think you can make a strong argument that our growth is limited by the blockchain that we exist on. Right now, we are only on Ethereum and Polygon. So that's two blockchains. Expect to see two more within the next couple to few weeks. So the user growth could be very substantial. And as we move tokens to those blockchains, that obviously reduces the supply on the Ethereum blockchain. So hope that answers those questions. That's not increasing the supply at all. However, actually, period, does not increase the supply at all with bridging to those other blockchains. One moment. Now, however, one blockchain, which is an interesting one, is Pulse Chain. So Pulse Chain, rather than creating an empty chain like Binance Smart Chain, or let's just use Binance Smart Chain as an example. If you have one swap token on Ethereum, they didn't give you one swap token on Binance Smart Chain. If you want to get swapped to Binance Smart Chain, you have to bridge it. What Pulse Chain is doing is they're essentially cloning the Ethereum network and just throwing it over to a delegated proof of stake network. So if you have one ETH, or let's say one swap on Ethereum, you're going to have one swap on Pulse Chain. Now, you'll also, if you have one USDC on Ethereum, which is in theory backed 1-to-1 by the US dollar, so it's backed currency, you'll have one USDC on Pulse Chain. Now, of course, the USDC on Pulse Chain is not backed 1-to-1. In fact, it's backed by nothing at all. Just like the swap on Pulse Chain won't necessarily, it's an infusion of more swap, which is dilutionary to the supply. So I'm interested to see the effects. At TrustSwap right now, internally, we've decided to not make any aggressive moves or decisions. We want to see how this plays out industry wide, how other ecosystems are affected by it. Um, we want to see some other companies making moves to one side, really embracing it or really staying away from it, or burning all the tokens, and what effect that has. Um, we're not saying where we're going to land. Um, I'm much more of a proponent of supporting the chain, but we'll see. We'll see. You don't want to be dilutionary with your token supply, because if we just gave the swap on Pulse chain utility, you would have double the supply. That's not a good thing. Anyways, that'll be an interesting one, and I'm interested to hear open discussion and thoughts as it happens. I believe it launches in about a month or two, so that will be. I'm keen to watch that progress. Okay. All right. Someone asks. So I'll probably double up a little bit on some of these questions. I know I may have already gone over it earlier, but I will double up. A, to reiterate, sometimes it takes a couple times for the point to just get driven home for some people. And B, this is a live stream, so some people might just be popping in now. What are the benefits for stakers or holders from Swappable in the crypto app? So first of all, as mentioned, Swappable, 80% of all fees are going to be going to the stakers. Boom. That's it. Hundreds of millions of dollars are going to OpenSea right now. We're bringing that value, those fees, to Swappable. I'm not saying we're bringing $100 million over on day one, but I'm saying OpenSea pockets the cash. We're giving it to our stakers. So that's interesting. 80% of it going to the stakers. And in the crypto app, this is a much larger conversation, because the question is, what are we doing with the crypto app? Is it going to have its own native token, or are we going to integrate Swap into the crypto app? There are significant pros and cons to both decisions. To just be very quick about the first option, integrating it into the app, that gives Swap more utility. This is a good thing. Does the market recognize fundamentals? I would argue sometimes no. We acquired the crypto app and absolutely nothing happened on the charts. So that's an interesting moment. Do you hope that the market is wise and increase the utility of the token? Or do you create a tokenomic ecosystem that forces scarcity on the swap token and forces the desire to hold and stake and lock away to be able to farm a new token over a period of multiple years? So one of the ideas that we're currently entertaining, probably the front runner, is, let's say we take 25% of the crypto app supply, 20%, let's say, the new token. Let's call it this TCA token, the crypto app. 25% of the supply can be farmed over a period of 4 years. Now, based on, again, just like a normal farming pool, there's a set number of tokens. Let's say it's 25 million, 25%. So of course, first it all starts out with proportional. So how much you stake is going to be proportional to how much you're earning from that pool. So if I have staked 10 tokens and then the total pool amount is 100 tokens, well, I have 10% of that pool, so I'll be staking 10% of the coins. So I'll earn 2.5 million tokens over the period of 4 years, which is 10% of 25 million. But that was if there was no variables. If it was just straight up, nobody entered or exited. Of course, people enter and exit all the time. What we're looking at doing and entertaining right now is having locks. So you can't just put in and take out whenever you want the swap token to farm the TCA token. What you'd have to do is you'd have to decide, okay, do I want to lock it for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120, 360, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, something like that. And the longer you lock it, the longer your multiple. So if you lock your swap up for 4 years, you might get a 100x multiple on your proportional allocation. So even if you've staked one swap token, it would be as if you're staking 100 swap tokens. And so that's what we're looking to do. Of course, the 4-year 100x is the massive one, and that's what we'd hope everyone does. We want everyone to lock their swap away, to stake it, to reduce the supply. But if people stake for 30 days, that's fine. That might have a 1x or 2x multiplier. You stake for 90 days, that might have a 3x or 4x multiplier. So the longer you stake, the higher your multiplier, the more TCA tokens you're going to be able to farm. This to me is the most interesting way to go about it. And it very much helps directly the TrustSwap token, potentially even more than introducing it as a utility token onto the crypto app. That would be my strong opinion. Okay. That said, we likely may still do some airdrops so that you won't have to stake. If you're a top 1,000 staker, you're going to get airdrops anyways. You don't need to stake, but we'll find a balance there. I see somebody commenting more Verso single staking. So we're going to have at least one more staking pool launching next week. At least one more staking pool. Again, everything is based on vesting. When are the vesting contracts? So when we sign a contract with a launch pad, let's say their private round or their strategic round, it has a 3-month cliff or a 6-month cliff, meaning that whoever got in at that round doesn't get their tokens until month 3 or month 6. In the majority of the cases, the tokens that are distributed to the staking pools or for swap drops is on a cliff as well. So it means you don't get it until 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, something like this. And usually there's a little bit of back and forth with these projects. That's why we don't have a set calendar out. So you can consider them surprises on the date when they come out, but you can have assurance that pretty much every launchpad that goes through the gates is going to have an airdrop and or a staking pool. So that is a long-winded answer on how our swap stakers and holders going to benefit from the crypto app. You're going to be able to earn TCA tokens. You're going to be able to likely get an airdrop, and it probably will have very, very, very significant positive effects on the swap token if we do the dual token method. And if we integrate the swap token into the crypto app, then you'll have increased utility. So there you go. Any difference in incentive between the top 1,000 and top 500 stakers? Yes, and that would probably be, well, that would be your launchpad allocation. So if you're a top 500 staker, you're going to be able to get much more in the launchpads. Also, there are some rewards going into the staking pool, so you're probably capturing some of those rewards. So in comments, they also shaved their hair when they went into the pandemic. Nicely done. Someone says they have a nice idea for a series of NFTs. How can they pitch the idea? You don't need to pitch the idea. That's the beautiful thing about Swappable. You can mint your tokens for free, no pitch needed. If you are part of a large project that already has backing or you have an established reputation, then please approach me and we can do some co-marketing. If you're just trying something out, having some fun with a hobby, feel free to launch it on Swappable. And then there's a good chance we have some marketing managers at Swappable. If they like the content you've put out, they will probably share it, they'll retweet it. Our goal is to get you the most exposure possible. But if you have an idea for an NFT and this is something you've never done before, please don't send me the DM. I have enough already. Just feel free to launch it. It's open. Anybody can use it. Okay. Boom, boom. Scrolling through. Someone says, how will Cardano's smart chain launch in September affect TrustSwap? So the answer there is, we'll probably be able to start building on Cardano, which we definitely plan to do. So it says, Swap is phenomenal, so undervalued. In 1 year, it has achieved so much. Unique working product suite in DeFi and vetted launchpads. Now NFT Marketplace. Huge acquisition in the crypto app. Incredible. That's from Benjamin Isaacs. Thank you, Benjamin, for seeing the big term vision here. And then he continues, cracking work, Jeff. You're an inspiration. Thank you very much. I am proud to be a long-term swap holder, and I'm absolutely flabbergasted, nice word, as to how Swap is not a top 100 project. Our goal is top 50, and that I'm shooting for that aggressively. Let's put it that way. I'm a competitive guy. If anybody knows me personally, um, incredibly competitive, and top 50 is where we're headed. Do swap stakers get early access to drops on Swappable? Well, so the drops that we're doing generally are low volume drops. We're not going to. Well, first of all, yes, I'll say that most of the drops we're doing are low volume drops. Let's say it's the FIFA piece. It's one piece. Let's say it's the Johnny piece. It's one piece. Let's say it's this, other collection from various celebrities. It's probably just a couple pieces. So getting priority access, it really doesn't matter, because you're just going to get outbid anyways. It doesn't matter who's first. It actually just matters who's last, who's paid the most. So it's really irrelevant if you're getting early access to drops. And then if somebody's creating an NFT project, it's actually up to them who they airdrop it to. Now, TrustSwap is passively working on some NFTs. There'll likely be 1,000, and I'm sure you can all guess where those 1,000 are going to. That's going to go to the top 1,000 stakers, but no timeline on that. So that's still in the works. Someone says, not every Launchpad project though, right? It's not mandatory. They're probably talking about airdrops and staking pools. So that's correct. Not every single Launchpad is going to have staking or airdrops, just because some of the Launchpads we get through the door are in very advanced stages, and they're not in a position where they want to give away 0.5% of the supply. Yet TrustSwap still wants to host them on the Launchpad because they represent an incredibly strong opportunity. We likely have one raise coming up in October. I think they've probably already raised 50 million. My numbers might be a little bit off. I'm not the Launchpad coordinator these days anymore. But they're not going to be giving away 0.5% of the supply, because the fully diluted valuation is staggering already. It's quite the project. But so maybe we can bargain for lower rates. Maybe they're not interested, but we still definitely want to host them because it's a monumental Launchpad. So that's the give and take there. Okay. Someone asks, do you have any plan going TrustSwap Ventures? So I'm assuming this means a venture arm of TrustSwap where we invest in various projects. And you could say that we're doing this through our Launchpads. And we also do this, we'll not only get the fee, 1 to 2 to 3%, sometimes 3.5% from the Launchpad. A lot of times we'll make a strategic investment at seed into these projects as well. We're not actively going out onto the market and looking for investment opportunities, but TrustSwap definitely does have a very large venture portfolio. And our total assets under management right now, probably, well, actually, I won't disclose that number right now. Somebody says 20% used to buyback and 80% given as rewards to stakers. So this is what he's talking to probably about this team finance fees. Again, we're going to be giving the staker rewards through Swappable. We're going to be helping the tokenomics through team finance. And I think everybody can agree with that. You don't want to give out too much to stakers. One of the projects that I've seen that has entered into this, no, I won't even talk about this. Some projects give away too much to stakers, and you can visibly see that it hurts their project because they have a tough time hitting their stride. So that's a balance that you really need to strike, and you need to be cognizant with, because everybody is interested in short-term gains for themselves. Everyone says, "Oh, just give me the money," and then they're going to sell it. Well, yes, of course, that's what everybody wants, but you need to think of the collective. How can we benefit the collective? It's not going to benefit the collective if we're giving away tens of millions of dollars on a monthly basis and it's just going straight to sell pressure. That's not going to help anybody. But if we're putting tens of millions of dollars to buy pressure and holding that in company reserves, I think everybody can agree that's probably a net positive on the ecosystem. And if you're a staker, you're probably happy because that means you're holding swap tokens and that buy pressure directly impacts you in a very positive way, potentially even more of a positive way than if we had just given you the swap tokens and then you sold them along with everybody else. So you see where we're getting at with this. One of my thoughts is that market caps of crypto projects is completely irrelevant. It makes absolutely no sense. I look at some of the projects in the top 50, I say, what the hell are you doing in there? I see projects that are much lower, and I say, why are you not worth more? And I think it's completely irrelevant. It really just has to do with strong tokenomics, supply and demand, buy and sell pressure, and that's it. That is it. I mean, there's other factors as well, but that's a very influential one. And so we want to take that factor and really move it in the right direction for everybody to benefit in the ecosystem. All right. Dan the Man, he says, just a friendly boom. And who's the UFC fighter that TrustSwap will sponsor? So Dan the Man, one of my good friends from back in Edmonton. I won't dox him, but we went to the jungle in Peru, and we had some times in there. So if anyone knows what happens in Peru jungles, we were there for 10 days, just in these little hammocks in the middle of the jungle. No, nothing. Hammocks in the middle of the jungle for 10 days. At night, you're completely by yourself, just you in the jungle. You know, he was probably like 300 meters away from me. It was a wild experience. So shout out to Dan. Swap for the win. You and your team are delivering. Amazing to follow. Thank you very much. I'm a top 100 staker, and 15 minutes into this AMA, I feel like I'm going to top 10. Right on, BitBully. I appreciate that. That's why I do these. I really want to highlight the high level vision on what TrustSwap's doing, because we have so much. We have so much going on, and it's a positive, and in one way it's a negative, because it really becomes difficult to create a cohesive message on what we're trying to achieve and why we're here. And again, to reiterate, our goal is to help increase the adoption rate of cryptocurrency to the world. And whether that's through individuals, through launch pads, through the crypto app, through buying, trading, all these amazing things, or whether it's through businesses being able to now integrate and provide secure, safe, and easy to use tools for their own token economy and for the people who use them. This is the goal. We're trying to go all the way across all the major blockchains. This is what we're aiming for. This is where we are going. This isn't an if, but a when. It just takes time. It takes dev power, and we're actively scaling up on the dev power. And I'm very pleased with how things are going. Someone says you should definitely sponsor some CSGO tournaments. Most of these dudes use crypto to buy skins. So I'm not on the sponsorship team, but I'll have them look into CSGO. I know one of the ones that we're looking into is Dota 2. Apparently that's a big one. I'm not an e-gamer, so I'm completely clueless about all this, but I'll mention CSGO. Thanks for the comment. How will you market Swappable? So here's a great question. So on the surface, on the peer-to-peer side, there are a lot of NFT marketplaces already. Why would you go to Swappable over OpenSea? Why would you go to Swappable over Rarible? Well, one of the answer is lower fees. But that's a very good question. Why would lower fees are a huge one. And then, of course, giving back the fees to the stakers. I think these are two very important factors why people should be attracted to Swappable. But that doesn't necessarily bring in outside people. You're not going to go put a billboard on like First and Main Street saying, we give money back to stakers. Nobody cares about that. Nobody even knows what it means. So what's the trick? Celebrities, high-profile individuals, high-profile brands launching NFTs on Swappable and marketing it. Come get your UFC champion NFTs on Swappable. We have all of these moments of her winning fights. We have these trading cards. People understand trading cards. So if you frame it like that to the general public, that, hey, here's their trading card, or you can own this moment, people sure understand NBA Top Shots. And so that's what we're looking to do. That is what we are doing. That's not what we're looking to do. That is what we are actively doing, forming these partnerships and then creating these NFTs that are then easy for them to market, which then, they have 2, 5, 10, 20 million followers. that's a huge audience that now comes to Swappable because they are directly emotionally involved with what is happening on Swappable. You go to these 20 million people, you say NFT Marketplace, low fees, money back to the stakers. They do not care. You can run banner ads till their eyes bleed from looking at the banner ad. They're never going to click it. But if you say, come buy the NFT of this person that you love, come own like one of 20, you could be an exclusive. Well, that's interesting. They want at least to check it out to see what it's about. That's the angle. So we're going to have this open peer-to-peer ecosystem. But for me, again, I'm not directly in charge of this department, but in my mind and how we're taking things, the goal is to really target these high-profile individuals so that they can spearhead our marketing campaign. And then all of these sponsorships that I had mentioned earlier, the sponsorships are essentially a warm intro to the NFTs. You know, you come up, you say, "Hey, you looking to do NFTs?" They don't really know, they're not interested, but you get them on the sponsorship deal. Now you're friendly with them. Okay, great. You've already made the money. Let's make you some more. And then let's say they're in a certain industry. Let's say like you were saying, CS:GO. One CS:GO team does it. 50 other CS:GO teams see it. You know, maybe one of those 50 action on it. Boom, you've just had another one that then sparks another one. If you've guys seen the Dancing Man video at, I think it's Paradiso the Gorge, look up on YouTube, Dancing Man Paradiso the Gorge, one of my favorite videos in the world. This is how it's done. So that is our marketing strategy. Paradiso, Dancing Man, the Gorge. All right. Again, flash launch tickets, exclusive happening on this live stream, mentioning that they're going to give a 1x extra allocation on the next launch pad and likely future launch pads as well. Farming pools, more coming next week. How's the Pulse airdrop going? Are they close to launch? I'm not sure when they're launching. September, October is what I understood. And then once that happens, then off we go with the airdrops. Someone says, are we listing on Binance? When Binance? This is one of the most common yet infuriating questions, just because it's so repetitive. The goal is to list on, at this stage, we are going to go to all major centralized exchanges. Before, I was a little bit opposed to them for various reasons, but now I see them as a necessary evil. If you believe in self-custody, please only trade on Uniswap or on Polygon or things of this nature. But if I understand that, and we all need to collectively agree that these centralized exchanges do present a very strong opportunity to onboard new people who are new to crypto, who only trade on a single exchange. So are we? Yes. When? To be announced. Do we have an agreement signed? Who knows? That's all I can say at this point. Has there been much update on the Mint platform? Yes. I believe recently there's definitely more customizable features over the last couple of weeks. Before, when you created a token, it was owned by TrustSwap and that prevented you from uploading an image. Now that's remedied. And now when you mint a token, you own it. And when I say owned by TrustSwap, TrustSwap doesn't own it, but it owns the minting contract address. So that prevented people from uploading the image because they're like, well, how do I upload the image through the minting contract address when it's owned by TrustSwap? So now they own the minting contract address. Subtle change, but very important. And then, of course, much more coming on Mint, many more blockchains, many more features on the way. Do top 1,000 stakers also get airdrop for flash launches? The answer to that is no. Flash launches are just small raises, lower than $750,000. So it just doesn't make sense to do any kind of significant airdrop on a flash launch because they're not going to want to give away more than 0.5% of their supply, if that. That's even ludicrous because it's such a small raise. And then let's say they're only giving away, because they're giving away a certain amount of pre-sale value. That we can all agree on. And if they're doing a $750,000 raise, which is the high end of a flash launch, so let's say it's $500,000, that's middle of the road. How much do they really want to give away for free?
maybe $100,000. Maybe. Let's agree. I think that's optimistic. Let's say they'll give away 100 grand. You split that between the top, 1,000 stakers, you don't really have that much money per person. So it's this is kind of the dilemma is, and then do you scale down how many people it's airdropped to, so now only the top 500 get it? Because gas fees are a thing. We're not going to send it out to people if it's $5 per person. The gas fee is $5 per person. It doesn't make any sense. So you need to strike the balance, and flash launches just don't make the cut. Sometimes we'll launch a staking pool, but I don't even believe we've done that. Someone says, still planning on closing staking when it reaches 100%. Yeah, definitely. That staking pool will not exceed 50 million swap tokens. That's that. When it's full, and that's the Launchpad pool. We obviously have other pools. There's probably going to be another pool to be able to farm. If we do the TCA token, the crypto app token, there will likely be another pool. Staking and unstaking on ETH can be quite expensive. When do you expect possibilities on Polygon or BSC? That's a good question. I'm not sure where that's at in our roadmap. I believe it's about a month and a half away, if I had to take an accurate guess for Polygon. But I'll check in on that for you, because I agree. That is something that we should get on sooner rather than later, so that you guys can save a little bit of cash. Let me check on that. Scrolling through a couple of them. This is an off-topic one, but Jeff, can you recommend any good movies to watch? Samsara, Samsara. It's just one that I always like watching. Well, it's not necessarily enjoyable, but I think it's an important watch. Plans to have farming multiplier from basic staking that would support basic pool filling. Yeah, that is something that I had mentioned doing. Our devs have just been slammed with other high level priorities, such as, the transition to other blockchains, new features on team finance, working on the crypto app. So we just haven't been able to prioritize that yet. That is on the list. I'm gonna check in where that's at on the list, because that is a good one. But there's just only so many people for so many tasks. So it's kind of like an emergency room, like when we announce this, we're like, boom, this is a top priority. But then things they come in and they just always bump it down. So even though that broken leg is an emergency, a guy comes in, cardiac arrest, another guy comes in, he has a amputated arm or something. So you gotta take care of other priorities first. Okay. So Ben says, I'm confused about the fees. Are fees going to stakers, or are they being held in the treasury? If they are going to stakers, are they distributed equally in the form of swap tokens? Okay. So let's break this down one more time. There's two ways that fees are generated: Swappable and team finance. Here's the breakdown on Swappable. 80% of the fees go to the existing staking pool, and those fees are distributed on a proportional basis based on your stake amount. So if you hold 10% of the pool, you're getting 10% of the fee. These fees, I believe, are distributed every 3 days. On Swappable, because that's only 80%, 10% burned, taking out of circulation, reducing the supply. The other 10%, because some people like burning, so we'll do that. 10%, there's more reasons than just that. I was being a little facetious. It does definitely help the tokenomics to have burning. The other one, 10% going to the foundation, so we can help with the maintenance and the sustainability and the progress of Swappable. So that's Swappable 80-10-10. Stakers, burn, foundation. Off to that side. Next up, we have the crypto app. We have the team finance. 100% of the fees come in and ETH and BSC right now, those fees are then going to get taken and used to market buy swap tokens. When you do a market buy, we all know what happens. You can go onto CoinGecko, you can go to TrustSwap, you can navigate to markets. You can see, I'll do it right now actually. Let's see here. Boom, 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 boom. 2% depth is $44,000. So if you do a buy order of $44,000 on Uniswap, which is where we have the most liquidity, you're going to move the price by 2%. So when we scale to millions to tens of millions of dollars of fees on Team Finance, I'll let you guys do the math on what that equates to in terms of impact. And rather than price does that, and then we take all those swap tokens, we give them to the stakers, let's say 50% of them sell, let's just be middle of the road there, the price comes back. So we'd just rather keep the momentum going. Let's leave it that way. Okay. Hope that makes sense. All right. Someone says, keep it simple, Jeff. The crypto app token is too confusing. Then the person comments right under, not really. And I agree. I don't think it's really confusing at all either. There's a secondary token, stake swap, earn that secondary token. But again, nothing has been decided. We're still, our first priority is just making the app kick ass. It's going to look completely different. We're doing a complete rebuild, reskin, revamp, rebrand, and adding new functionalities, buying, selling, trading, staking. It's going to be good. Does simply holding a certain amount of swap in your wallet make you eligible for airdrops? If you staked it and you're in the top 1,000 stakers, which, let me see, you know what? I'm not going to check that out right now. It's going to be too many steps. Somebody check that out. It's probably around like 9,000 swap, or you can check it out yourself on dashboard.trustswap.org. Someone says, when can we increase in swap rewards? As Swappable goes live and begins to gain traction. Once Swappable goes live, it's not going to be a flood of staking rewards, but it will begin to increase as Swappable gets more utility. There's no question about that. IDOs for Solana or Cardano coming up on the launchpad, they ask. As soon as we get some applications in that are high enough quality, we will launch them. We may have some in our back pocket, and we also may not. Someone says, can we get an option to auto stake rewards in the staking pool? So this is a good idea, but it costs gas to execute smart contract functions. I know, or I'm fairly certain, Yearn Finance does auto stake, but then there has to be some kind of custody solution. Like, we can't give you the tokens into your wallet and then have them auto stake. Well, actually, what am I talking about? That's exactly what happens. Or you got me stumped on this one. I'm gonna have to look into the mechanics. It's a good question. I will look into that because that would be ideal. I agree. I have not looked into that functionality in quite some time, and so it slips my mind exactly how it's working, but we certainly know how it's working. So let me ask the guys and see what we can do to get that happening for you. What other projects are examples of good tokenomics in your view? Oh, I'm gonna get strung up for saying this because it has a lot, in my opinion, a lot of downsides. But the one part that I like about it is that you have to stake for a long time. You lock in the tokens. Hex has some interest. Hex has an interesting token model in that they've been able, and Axion, in that they've been able to achieve people staking for 15 years. taking their tokens out of supply for 15 years, drastically reducing the circulating supply. Now, what happens in 15 years when all of those unlock? That's a whole nother ball game. I think there's going to be a mass exodus event that you really need to take care of. But regardless, I think when you can get, here's maybe rather than talking about individual projects, when you can get, there's a couple things. When you can get people locking their tokens away for a long period of time, that's a positive. When you can bring strong utility to your token, like you see with Ethereum or the BSC token, that's also a positive. Um, these are kind of the two main things. You look at the Uniswap token. That's one that I think, what are you doing in the top 10, my man? All its functionality is as a governance token, and in my mind, it's terrible at governance. The governance votes that go through are hilariously bad. They make changes without adequate proposals. There's really the token, in my mind, has negligible utility, but is worth billions. So I think branding really plays into strong tokenomics as well. Otherwise, Uniswap would not be there. So you need to, at the end of the day, you need to create strong supply and demand. That's what happens through staking, and it also happens through utility. It's really all a game of supply and demand. So any project that has figured out supply and demand, that's a good go-to. And that's why we're trying to get people to, we are getting people to stake for the launch pads. We have all these staking pools from our partnered launch pads. We're going to be moving on to other blockchains. Our goal is get the supply low, lock it up, make it a scarce resource. That's the go-to for strong tokenomics. Of course, this is a utility token, so it's nice that everybody can have access to it and that these tokens are divisible to 18 decimals. So even though it's rare, it's still a utility token. You can't expect profit from, make sure this is not a security at all. So that being said, just a quick one. When centralized exchange tentatively, there's no dates. We do not give dates on centralized exchanges because it is fully up to them. And when we know the date, then we'll announce it. I'm just still reading through here. Someone asks, how are we powering the cryptocurrency investing Facebook group? So if you guys aren't aware, cryptocurrency investing on Facebook, one of the largest and most engaged, I would say it's the most engaged Facebook crypto group in English in the world, hands down. I don't know of any others. And I've looked very extensively and I'm in all of them. Long story short, that group now on the cover photo, it says cryptocurrency investing powered by TrustSwap. How is that group powered by TrustSwap? Well, the answer is I own the group, so I just put that on there. So that's how it's powered, because it's my group. Boom. So it provides a lot of additional exposure, as you can imagine. 250,000 people seeing that on a daily basis. All right. Someone's asking about MobiPay. MobiPay has a very, very strong use case and backend and partners lined up. Their team is also quite strong. So I have a very good prognosis for MobiPay. Okay. We have made it to the end of the questions. Let me scroll through real quick here, see if there's anything else I want to talk about. I think that's good. Guys. Appreciate your time. Appreciate now 102 of you tuning in. That's awesome to see. We made it to an hour and 10 minutes. I think this was really good, and I hope that you guys can get the high level idea on what we're doing. It's not, we're not just launch pads. We're not just token locks, and we're not just a combination of these features somehow fitting together in some mash stew. What we are is an ecosystem, a digital asset ecosystem that is helping fuel and catalyze the adoption of cryptocurrency to the world. And we're doing that for individuals and we're doing that for businesses. And I hope you guys see that. And I hope you guys are in this project and with us for a long time, because this isn't a short term flip. This is something, of course, that we're building very rapidly. A lot happens in a very short amount of time, granted. But the vision here is monumental when you scale it out to any kind of given reasonable time frame of another year, another 2 years, another 3 years. This is one that you guys want to be keeping your eyes on. I'm glad to have you all here. The 100+ of you who are still here, and probably the hundreds, if not thousands, who've tuned in and out during this stream. Thank you for being a part of this. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you being part of this ecosystem and the support you give on social media. What we're building here is very big, very ambitious, and I know for a fact, and I'm certain that we're going to be able to achieve exactly what we set out to. And we owe a lot of that to you guys who are helping support and to be there for us. So right on, guys. Thank you very much. Check you guys next time.